Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of that show that will not be named. I am your host Brian, or 2GamePrince, whatever you prefer. And today, I wanted to talk about Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Well, that is actually a lie. I wanted to talk about the Slender Man movie, but I'm going to save that for next video because who isn't talking about how shitty it is? I want to break the mold. I want to return to what all these anime and other content YouTubers were talking about a few months ago, and make some JoJo videos, because I really love JoJo, but I feel like I haven't talked about it a lot. I haven't really brought it up, and I feel that I need to make my videos more vigorous, thoroughly thought out, and other words that are, double things, thoroughly thought out, fascinating, shit like that. So, first thing I wanted to start on was stands. Now, I love stands. I think they're one of the greatest ideas in literature ever. And who knows, maybe in like 1,000 years, when the copyright finally runs out, stands are going to be right in alongside with fantasy things such as, elves and magic and shit like that. Because when you think about it, I got into an interesting conversation with my friend the other day. And it was like an argument. We comedically argue. And the other day when I was talking to him, he's like, well, maybe you can incorporate, like stands or Hamon or something into, like a story or like a fan story or something like that. And when you think about it, I looked at him, I'm like, I can't do that. I can't copy from other people's shit. Hamon's made up. It's fictional. It's not like elves and dwarves and magic. Oh. And then he was looking at me like kind of weird. And that's when I finally caught myself and I was like, wait a minute, that's right. Everything came from something. Anytime somebody uses like an elf, people don't always use the version of elves from Tolkien, though that's the one that people like to mention the most. It's like, oh yeah, anytime somebody uses an elf, Tolkien. Like, there were elves before Tolkien. There were dwarves before Tolkien. Pretty sure there were orcs before Tolkien too, but I'm not quite sure on that one. I actually do not know. I'm fully unaware of whether Tolkien created orcs or not, because I believe orcs might have been a thing before, but I tend not to dwell on it too much. But that's when I suddenly realized, and I thought about it, I'm like, well, that's true. Hamon and stands in maybe 1,000 years to our children's children, it will be, stands will be just as, fictional and uncultural or whatever as magic and elves and orcs and fairies and shit, because it's just a concept that's going to be handed down, and eventually everything's going to lose its copyright, in my opinion. I'm not sure if that's a fact or not. I actually don't know of anything that still retains its copyright. Just things, I think the bill is like 40 years and then it loses its copyright, 40 years after the death of its creator. That's if the property isn't stolen away from its creator while they're still alive, and then it's run by a powerhouse company. I wonder if anyone would try to put a book out about Cinderella, or anyone would try to write anything about Cinderella, and then Disney would just go ape shit. Be like, we invented that character. No, you didn't. Stop. Get out. Go away. You own everything. Literally. And when I got to thinking about that, I'm like, the thoughts, when I think about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, kind of, I have a hard time staying on one topic, because one thing goes into another thing, which goes into another thing, which goes back and forth. And when I start to get to thinking about stands, I start to get to thinking about the characters who don't have stands. And when I think about that, I start to think about Nazi sympathizing, and then I get to thinking about Stroheim. And Stroheim is probably the coolest Nazi in all of fiction. And I think it's real funny because JoJo just resonates so well with today's kids. And what's funny about it is, in it, you got a sympathetic Nazi. You got a good, for lack of a better word, good Nazi. On top of a generation who's 90%, whose favorite pastime is accusing people of Nazis and hating Nazism and yada, 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 yada. But I just think that's funny. I think that's very ambitious. That's one of the things that I like about JoJo. Extremely ambitious. He made a fucking Nazi a hero. He made he killed main characters off like they're nothing. And this mold is just broken so many times by the whole franchise. It's absolutely amazing that it's still around and that people are still into it. And I get that that's mainly for the fact that it's just a completely out of left field type of series. It's completely, like, you don't know what's going to happen next. And every single part of Jojo just has the formula completely mixed up. The first one's like, Phantom Blood is like a, in my own words, Phantom Blood is like a Shakespearean tragedy. The second one's like an Indiana Jones movie on drugs. The third part, Stardust Crusaders, is like a Monster of the Week film, or a Monster of the Week TV series, like Kolchak. Like each episode, new monster, new bad guy. Part 4 is like the Hardy Boys. Part 5, Venturuyo, Golden Wind. I actually just found out. I found out a while ago that Venturuyo meant Golden Wind. And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty. Why didn't they just call it Golden Wind? That's cool, though. I really like that. I never knew what that was. It was Golden Wind is like a mafioso story plus weird superpowers. And that's a word I don't really see being thrown a lot with JoJo, superpowers. Because it's all the stands really are. They're superpowers. What's Home On? It's a superpower. No, it's an ancient art of get the fuck. It's a superpower. What did they have in Dragon Ball Z? They had superpowers. No, they had ki and energy manipulation. Superpowers. But I like whenever people talk about it, especially in anime, people don't really put in superpowers. They don't factor it in with stands and ki blasts and all that stuff. It's separate. Which is really, I think anything extraordinary about a person or a god could be labeled a superpower. But people just don't throw that word around. Because it's, I think, part of the aspect of the show is differentiating. No, this is Kai energy, manipulation and this, that, and the other thing. This isn't superpowers. And then you have a show like One Punch Man that has superpowers, and they're called superpowers, and everyone knows them to be superpowers. And then you have My Hero Academia with quirks, whatever the fuck. I really don't like My Hero Academia. That's what I should do next, a video on that. But going back to JoJo, in time, that's all the stands are going to be. It's just another thing for people to put into their writing. And in a bajillion years, the concept of stands may still be around, but who knows if people will even remember JoJo. If people remember Shakespeare, if people remember Harlan Ellison, if people remember sports, if people remember me. And I think that's going to do it for the end of this video. Thank you all for joining me. Probably going to be a JoJo video next. Yeah, most likely. I would apologize for my constant stammering and halting nature, but as you all know, this isn't a... What's the word I'm looking for? This isn't a usual review channel. It's more like just a blog. So, hope you all aren't getting bored. I sure am. I hate this. I run out of... I go into topics with such momentum, and then all of a sudden it's just and I lose all of my interest. Hopefully next video it's something way more interesting. It's something I have to say a lot about. Next video is going to be whatever the hell I mentioned at the beginning of this video before it became a JoJo video. I'll see you next time. Bye.